Good morning, 12th class. So today we are in the 6th chapter of the first book of political science, and the name of the chapter is the crisis of democratic order. Actually, in this topic or in this chapter, we are going to read about the crisis of democratic order. As the name of the chapter suggests, that in this chapter we are going to learn about when Indira Gandhi becomes the Prime Minister of India, what were the consequences there at that time, and what were the decisions of Indira Gandhi which makes the democracy converted into the emergency. So in this chapter only we are going to read about why was the emergency was imposed by Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Was it necessary or not? Was the emergency which was imposed by the Mrs. Gandhi was necessary at that time, or whether it is unnecessary. The second point which we are going to read in this topic in this chapter is about what did the imposition of emergency mean in practice. It means if any country is in emergency, so during emergency period, what was the law and order there, and what the government expected from the people to do, and what they expected not to do. Third point which we are going to reach in this chapter is what were the consequences of emergency on party politics. At that time the party politics was too much in India, so what was the consequences of the emergency in the party politics. At that time, up to now, we know that from the 1947, the year when the India got independence, till then only Congress was in the power. So what happens after that, and what happens in between the emergency and at the time of emergency in politics of India. And the fourth and very important point with which we are going to read in this chapter is what are the lessons of emergency for Indian democracy. It means after the emergency was finished, what was the lesson for the Indian democracy after that emergency happens. So in this chapter we are going to read about this emergency only, and what happens after the election, after the emergency, in the election, what happened there. So all this we are going to read in this chapter, and I assure you that this chapter is also very beautiful and very interesting chapter, like chapter number 4 and 5 we already read and already finished. So the starting topic of this chapter is background to emergency. So we are going to read about just what we have read in the previous topic. I am reading from the second line that Indira Gandhi had emerged as the towering leader with tremendous popularity. As we have read in the last topic, this was also the period when party competition became bitter and polarized. As we know, this period also witnessed tension in the relationship between the government and the judiciary. These years, there was a tension between the government and the judiciary. As we all know that Indira Gandhi came in the power with the full majority. So she thinks at that time that she is upper than judiciary. So there was a tussle between the judiciary and the government at these years, and you can say in this decade. So the Supreme Court found many initiatives of the government to be violate of the constitution. Sometimes Supreme Court thinks that there are too much violation takes place in the law and order which was passed by the government or constitution. The Congress party took the position that this stand of the court was against principle of democracy and parliamentary supremacy. So the Congress also alleged that the court was conservative institution and it was becoming an obstacle in the way of implementing pro-poor welfare program. So Congress on the other hand allegation लगाए उन्होंने सुप्रीम कोर्ट में that Supreme Court becomes the obstacle in improvisation and you can say in the implementation of the welfare program for the poor, and we cannot help the poor because Supreme Court is coming in between the government and the implementation of the welfare program. So we can say that at this time there was so much tussle between the Congress and the Supreme Court, and what happens after that we will soon read after this video. Till then, thank you.